Hey everyone, welcome back to Soul Stories. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe and join our growing family of listeners who love heartfelt stories that remind us of the goodness still alive in the world. Today's story is one that will touch every corner of your heart. It's about a mother pushed to her limits, a car that held memories far too heavy to price, and a mechanic whose unexpected kindness changed everything. So settle in, take a deep breath, and let's begin. The rain had been falling heavily that morning when Maria stood at the kitchen counter, staring at a stack of bills taller than her hope. The house was silent except for the slow ticking of the wall clock. Her son, Jamie, was still asleep in his room, wrapped in the superhero blanket she'd stitched together when he was 4. He was 9 now, and far too old for it, but he insisted on keeping it. It made him feel safe, he always said. And Maria understood. Kids crave security, the kind she wasn't sure she could keep giving much longer. She touched the electric bill first, overdue the water bill, overdue the medical bill from Jamie's last doctor visit. Unpaid, the numbers blurred as tears pooled in her eyes, but she blinked them away. She wouldn't let herself cry this early in the day, not when Jamie could walk in at any moment and see her falling apart. She had made a promise to herself years ago. Her son would always see her trying, even when she had nothing left. Her gaze drifted outside the kitchen window to the driveway where her old car sat, a faded blue sedan with scratches on the door and a dent on the rear bumper. To anyone else, it was just a beat-up car barely worth fixing. But to her, it held the memories of the life she used to have before everything changed. That car was the one she and her late husband, Daniel, had driven to their honeymoon cabin. It was the one they used during late-night snack runs when they were young and reckless. It was the one that carried her to the hospital when she went into labor with Jamie, Daniel speeding the entire way while laughing nervously and promising he wouldn't crash. When Daniel passed away in an accident 3 years ago, the car became even more precious, a reminder, a piece of their old life she wasn't ready to let go of. But memories didn't pay bills. She wiped her face and took a steadying breath. She had made her decision last night, and no amount of sentiment could change it. She grabbed the keys, shoved the bills into her purse, and prepared herself for the ache she knew was coming. Later that morning, after Jamie had eaten breakfast and gone to school, she drove the old car to a local repair shop she had passed many times but never entered. The sign out front read, Tony's Auto Service. Fair prices, honest work. Tony was a middle-aged man with kind eyes that crinkled when he smiled and hands stained with grease from decades in the trade. He looked up from beneath the hood of a truck as Maria walked in. "Morning," he said, wiping his hands on a rag. "What can I help you with?" She hesitated, fingers tightening around the keys. I want to sell my car. Well, whole or for parts, whatever you prefer. I just need to know what I can get for it." Tony raised an eyebrow, glancing past her to the car outside. "That blue sedan. It's pretty old. Doesn't look like it's been serviced in a while." "I know," she said softly. "That's why I'm not expecting much." "Let's take a look." As Tony inspected the car, Maria stood off to the side, arms folded across herself as though she were holding her heart in place. She watched him check the engine, the tires, the interior, the undercarriage. Every tap, every note he made, tightened the knot in her stomach. Finally, he closed the hood and turned to her. "Look, the car still has some life in it, but not much. If you're looking to sell, I can offer you about $500 for parts. Maybe a little more if I can salvage the transmission. Only $500. She tried not to flinch. She needed more, $1,000 at least to cover this month's bills. But $500 was something, and something was better than nothing. "All right," she whispered. "I'll take it. Tony studied her face, eyes narrowing slightly, not in judgment but concern. Most people would haggle, challenge him, or ask for options, but she simply accepted the lowest price offered. He sensed the desperation behind her voice. "Are you sure?" he asked gently. She nodded. "Yes, I'm sure." He handed her the paperwork, and she signed it. When he gave her the envelope with the $500, she thanked him quietly and walked out of the shop with slow steps, feeling like she had left a piece of her soul behind. The next few days were a whirlwind of emotion for Maria. She paid the bills she could and made arrangements with the companies she couldn't fully pay yet. She cooked simple meals, stretched every dollar, and tried to smile for Jamie, who sensed something was wrong but didn't know what. Then one Friday afternoon, a knock sounded on her door. She opened it to find Tony standing there, hands shoved into his pockets, looking strangely nervous for a man built like a refrigerator. Beside him, to her shock, was her blue sedan, freshly washed, polished, and gleaming like it hadn't in years. Her heart jumped. What? What is this? Why is my car here? Tony cleared his throat. "I need to explain something." She stepped outside, confused, and he continued. "After you left the shop, I couldn't stop thinking about you. I see a lot of folks come in and out, and I've gotten pretty good at reading people. You weren't selling that car because you wanted to. You were selling it because you had no other choice, and I could see that car meant something to you, more than just transportation." Her throat tightened. "So, I took a better look at it," Tony said. "I realized it's not as bad as I thought. It needed work, sure, but nothing too major. I replaced a few parts, fixed the dent, changed the tires, checked the engine, and gave it a full tune-up. Runs smooth as new now." Maria blinked rapidly, unable to process. "But I sold it to you. You bought it. Why would you do all that?" "Because sometimes people need a break," he replied simply, "and because that car has been loved. You don't see that very often. I talked to some friends and local businesses who chipped in for the parts. The community helped, and," he smiled sheepishly, "I want you to have it back." She stared at him. Her heart thudded painfully. "That doesn't make any sense. You already paid me for it. I can't afford to buy it back." He waved a hand. "I'm not selling it back. I'm giving it back, for free." Maria froze, eyes filling with tears she couldn't hold back anymore. "Why?" she whispered shakily. "Why would you do something like this for me? You don't even know me." He looked at her with a softness that contrasted his rugged exterior. "Because life's hard enough, and because I know what it's like to lose someone and hold onto the things they touched. My wife passed years ago. Her old Jeep sat in my driveway for months after. Couldn't bring myself to sell it. One day, a friend helped me fix it up and get it running again. It meant the world to me, and when I saw the look on your face when you handed over the keys, I recognized it." Maria covered her mouth with both hands as sobs shook her shoulders. Tony waited patiently until she steadied herself. "Thank you," she whispered. Those two words felt too small for the weight of what he had done. "There's more," Tony added, scratching his cheek awkwardly. "My shop is partnering with a local outreach program. We offer discounted or fully covered repairs for single parents who are struggling. If you ever need maintenance, oil changes, repairs, anything, you come to me, we'll make it work." She shook her head in disbelief. "I don't know how to repay you. You don't. Just take care of your boy. That's enough." Later that evening, when Jamie came home and saw the car shining in the driveway, he ran to it with wide eyes. "Mom, it looks brand new. How did this happen?" She knelt beside him, pulling him into her arms. "A very kind man helped us, sweetheart. Can I meet him?" "You already did." Tony waved from the sidewalk, getting into his truck. Jamie waved enthusiastically back. That weekend, Maria took Jamie on a drive, retracing the old routes she and Daniel once traveled. The engine hummed smoothly beneath them as wind streamed through the open windows. She hadn't felt this light in years. As they passed the hill overlooking the city, a place she and Daniel used to stop during summer nights, she parked the car and let Jamie run in the grass while she sat on the hood, breathing in the cool air. She looked up at the sky and whispered, "Thank you, Daniel, for sending help when I needed it most." Weeks passed, and every time Maria drove the car, she remembered not just her husband, but also the kindness of a stranger who became something more. Someone who reminded her that the world wasn't always cold, that generosity still existed, that even in the hardest moments, people were capable of surprising compassion. Word of Tony's gesture began to spread through the neighborhood. A few locals dropped by his shop to thank him or donate to the program he was supporting. Some brought food. Others handed over small envelopes of money. A group of high school students even offered to help volunteer at the shop to support other struggling families. Tony never boasted about what he did. He shrugged off compliments and insisted he didn't do anything special, but those who knew him, and those who heard Maria's story, knew differently. He had sparked something, a ripple of kindness that kept moving, touching more lives than he ever imagined. Months later, Maria found a steady job at a local community center. The salary wasn't huge, but it was enough to pay the bills, save a little, and give Jamie the life he deserved. She sometimes brought cookies or home-made meals to Tony's shop as a thank you, though he always acted embarrassed and told her she didn't have to. One evening, she and Jamie dropped by the shop with a small gift, a framed picture of her car parked in the golden light of sunset, with handwritten words at the bottom, "For the man who reminded us that kindness still exists." Tony looked at the picture for a long moment before clearing his throat. "You're going to make me emotional," he muttered, pretending to rub grease off his cheek. Jamie giggled. "You're welcome, Mr. Tony." Over time, the connection between them grew, not romantic, not forced, simply a friendship built on gratitude and respect. And sometimes, the most meaningful relationships aren't the ones that begin with grand gestures, but with quiet acts of goodness that change the course of someone's life. In the end, Tony didn't just return a car, he returned hope. He returned security, he returned faith in humanity, and that, more than anything, was the true gift. Thank you for watching this story on Soul Stories. If this touched your heart, share it with someone who might need a reminder that kindness still has a place in our world. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment below with your thoughts or your own experiences with unexpected acts of generosity. Until next time, stay kind, stay hopeful, and keep your soul open to the miracles around you.